If you are new to SPSS and feeling lost, this video is exactly what you need. In just 70 minutes, I'll cover everything to get you started with confidence, from navigating the menus and entering the data, to running analysis and interpreting the results. By the end, you'll know exactly how SPSS works, making data analysis faster and easier than ever. When you open the SPSS software, you see at the bottom you have data view and also the variable view. The data view is the place where you enter, manage, and view your actual dataset in SPSS. The row represents the observation or case that you have, meanwhile the column represents the variable in SPSS. So, before you enter the data in data view, let's define the variable in the variable view window. At the name field, this is where you type the variable name as a short identifier. Remember, start with letter. You can also include numbers, but no special characters and no spaces. But you can use underscore to separate the word. So let's type respondent underscore ID. Okay, let's move to the type field. This is where you define the type of the variable. Here, the command type is numeric, also a string, and that. Okay, so because the respondent idea is in numeric, let's leave it in numeric. For the width field, this is where you define the maximum digits that SPSS can store for the variable here. So I'll just leave it for 10. For the decimals, this is where you define the maximum numbers of the decimals value, especially if you use numeric value. I prefer to reduce the numbers to 0 because in this case we don't need decimals value. At the level field, you can explain your variable name more clearly and more longer. Okay, let's type respondent space ID. You can use space or a special character here. Okay, at the values field, if you have a categorical variable and you need to define the value for each number, you can define it here. I'll explain at the next variable. Missing. This is the field that SPSS provides for us to identify specific numbers or specific values that will be recognized as the missing value. So let's say you want 999 that will be recognized as missing value. For all data in respondent idea that consists of 999 values, that won't be included in further analysis. Column. This is the maximum number of the name of the column. It won't affect your analysis. The alignment, you can choose left, right, center at the data view window. Let's just make it default. And this is the thing that you need to pay attention. The measure field in SPSS specifies the level of measurement for each variable, guiding SPSS in how to handle and analyze the data correctly. The measure field allows you to classify each variable as nominal, ordinal, or scale. Nominal indicates that the variable is categorical without any inherent order. Nominal data represents distinct categories or groups, for example like gender, blood type, race, and so on. Ordinal represents categorical data that has a meaningful order or rank, but the intervals between ranks are not consistent or measurable. For example like Likert scale responses from strongly agree to strongly disagree, or customer satisfaction levels, and so on. Scale denotes continuous data with measurable equal interval, which can be interval or ratio. So you can use scale measurement for interval or ratio data. Remember, for interval, it has equal intervals but no absolute zero, like temperature in Celsius. For ratio, it has the same equal intervals with a true 0 point, allowing a meaningful comparisons like weight, age, and so on. For the respondent ID variable, let's choose a nominal because we don't put any measurement here. And at the role field, this is where you define the role of the variable. Normally, you use this role option if you want to use advanced statistical techniques. If you are not sure how to use this field, just leave it by default. Okay, now let's move to the next variable. Let's type gender. We'll use gender variable here. This is numeric. The width is, let's just use 1. The decimal is 0. Okay. The label is gender. And for the values, this is where we define the values for the categorical variable. 1 for male and 2 for female, like this. Okay, click add and then click OK. After that, just leave it the missing column and align by default. For the measurement, let's choose nominal, and then let's add the last variable is height. Let's analyze this data later. The width is, let's leave it 8.0. For the level is height. You can also add the measurement here, like centimeter. For the values, we have no values here, and the measurement is scale. Okay, now your variable name is ready in the variable view, and you can also see at the data view we have 3 variables that is ready for your further analysis. There are 2 ways that you can use to enter your data into SPSS. The first one is by typing it manually. Let me type the data that I prepare from a fictitious source. Let's type it like this, and of course it's time consuming, and maybe there is a mistake when typing it. Okay, if you have the data prepared in another space like Microsoft Excel and so on, just copy and paste it. Okay, this is the second way, and this is the most recommended way that I prefer. Okay, let's just copy it like this. Click and then click copy, and then move it into SPSS. Right click and then click paste. Okay, now your data is ready to use. You can also import your data from another application such as Microsoft Excel, Stata, and so on by go to File and select Import Data, and then select the extension of your data like Excel, CSV, Stata, and so on. Let's choose Excel here. Let me select the data source. Okay, and then click it, click open, and then you can do a little bit of modification about the data that you want to import in the read Excel file pop-up window. Okay, let me click cancel. After all the preparation and the data entry process is done, you can proceed to the next step. The next thing that you must do after entering the data is to understand the characteristics of your data. That's why you need to use descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics is a tool that you can use to analyze, summarize, and interpret the nature of your data. And in this case, let me add another cases to make the data richer, like this. And first, I will show you how to use the common descriptive statistics, not based on the gender. So we will analyze this height data for all gender. Go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then select Descriptives. Okay, move the height variable into the variable box. Click Options here. Let's check all the measurement that we need. Let me check the range and also kurtosis and skewness as the shape of distribution measurement. Okay, I think I'll show all the measurement here. Click Continue and then click OK. Here, as you can see, the minimum value of the data is 160, meanwhile the maximum value is 190. The average of the height of the data is 174.59, and the standard deviation is 8.602. And let's make it more detailed by separating the output of the descriptive statistics based on the gender. To do this, you need to do the split file first. Go to Data and then select Split File here. Okay, click the gender and click the Organize Output by Groups here and move the gender variable, which means that the further analysis will be grouped by the gender. Okay, click OK. Now let's perform the descriptive statistics again. Go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then select Descriptives. Okay, let's select the height variable here. Click OK. You have another 2 tables that is appear on the output window, the descriptive statistics for male and for female. Here, let's compare these 2 tables and make a simple interpretation. Let's see, the mean for the female is 175.42. Meanwhile, for male is 173.73, which means that on average, female is higher than the male. And also, you can see the maximum height for female is 190, meanwhile for male is 189. It's quite interesting to interpret the data if you separate the output based on a specific category, like this. Next, let's do a hypothesis test to see if there is a significant difference between the height of male and the height of female. So let's undo the split file first. go to data and then click split file, move the gender here, or click the reset like this. Click OK. After you undo the split file process, go to analyze and then select compare means. Okay, we will compare the means of the male and female, and click independent samples t-test. Here, let's move the height variable into the test variable box and then gender to the grouping variable. So don't forget to define the groups. So here we use 1 and 2 as the value, and then click OK. Great, now you see that you have another t-test output in your output window, and what we need to see that is the p-value here. You can see at the equal variances, the significance value or p-value is 0.372, and if you use alpha for 5% or 0.05, this significant value is higher than the alpha, which means that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. We can conclude that there is no significant difference between the height of male and female based on the data. Okay, so we fail to reject the null hypothesis if the p-value greater than alpha. Meanwhile, if we found that the p-value or the significance value in the output table is less than the alpha, which means that we successfully reject the null hypothesis. You just need to see the p-value here and compare it into the alpha value that you use in your research. Next, let me show you how to transform this continuous data into categorical data without losing any data. So we have these height categories, and let's say we want to create this continuous data into 3 categorical values. Let's say from 160 cm to 169 as normal, 170 to 179 as tall, and 180 or more, which means more than 180, we call it very tall. Okay, so let's recode this continuous data and make it into 3 categories. Go to transform and then select recode into different variables. If you use recode into same variables, it will replace the existing variables that you use. Okay, so use recode into different variables. Here, let's use the height, move it into the output variable box here. For the output variable name, let's write just height underscore code. Okay, let's just make it like this for the code. Click change, and at the all and new value, this is where we categorize the continuous data and make it into a specific level. So let's say the old value from range here 160 to 169, the new value is 1. Click add. After that, from 170 to 179, click continue. The new value is 2. Okay, and you can also click all other values, which means other than this category or the rest of the value as 3. Click add. After that, click continue, then click OK. Let's move into the data view. We have these new categories in your variable view. Let's define this code in the label field at the variable view window. Okay, add the values here, click the values field, and remember the code is 1 for normal, okay, 2 for tall, and 3 for very tall. Add and then click OK. Let's move into the data view window and let's reduce the decimals to 0. And as you can see, this code already has the label based on the value that you define at the variable view window. After generating this height code variable, let's try to create a simple bar graph using this variable. To create the chart or graphs, go to graphs options here and then click chart builder. Okay, just click OK, and then let's choose the chart that we want to apply to the category. Let's click this bar chart, this simple bar, and then drag it into the gallery preview box here. Okay, and then click the height code here, move it into the x-axis box here like this. Okay, which means you want to visualize this normal, tall, and very tall category in bar chart visualization. Okay, at the element properties, you can also change many things here, like the title, the axis bar. You can also change the label of the axis and so on. You can also change the appearance or color and many things here. And in this case, I'll just make it by default. And remember here at the statistics option, you can also change the value that appear. If you want to change the count to percentage, cumulative, value, means, and so on. I'll just make it count because it's the best value to display here, and then click OK. Just wait. And here you have this simple bar graph that you can use to visualize your data and gives more meaningful information to your reader. Another important feature that you need to know is how to use the cross tabs, or in Microsoft Excel, we call it pivot table. Cross tabs is a tool that we use to create a table that shows the relationship between two or more categorical variables. It allows you to see how categories of one variable intersect with categories of another variable, and make it easier for us to identify patterns and associations in the data. To create the cross tabs, go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then select Cross tabs here. Let's select the variable that will be the column and that will be the row. Let's make the height code as the column, gender as the row. You can also change the value that appear in the cross tabs by using the cells option here. Let's also make the percentages appear in the table. Let's make it based on the row. Click continue and then click OK. Here you now have a cross tabulation that gives meaningful information. You see that the male that is normal is 29, or about 39.7% here. And the last, you must know how to copy and paste it into another space. So right click here and then click copy. Let's say you want to move it into the Microsoft Word. Right click here and then click keep source formatting here. Okay, you are successfully pasting it into the Microsoft Word. Or you can also extract this whole output into a specific format. To do this, right click and then click export. You have three options at the top. That means select all to convert the whole output into a specific format. At the document field, let's say we want to convert it into a Word like this. Click the Word options, and you can also change the location here. Let me change it into the desktop. The name is output. Okay. And after that, click OK. Wait until the exporting process is done, and let's go to the desktop and open it. Congratulations, you are successfully converting all your output into Microsoft Word format. Okay,